All right, let's talk about something that comes up in the shop almost every single week. Somebody's standing there looking at a color swatch. They've got the whole thing picked out, satin black, maybe a color shift, maybe a full commercial build with their logo on the side, and right before they put a deposit down, they pause and go, hang on. What's this going to do to my insurance? It's a fair question, and honestly, it's a good instinct because most people ask it after the wrap's already on. So let's get you the answer up front. Here's the short version. Wrapping your car almost never raises your premium on a personal policy. What it does do is create a reporting obligation you need to tell your insurance company. And the second thing, the one that surprises almost everybody, is that the wrap itself isn't covered under a standard policy unless you specifically ask for it to be. Those are the two things that actually matter. Everything else is detail. So let's get into the detail. Start with why your insurer even cares. Your insurance company knows your vehicle three ways. There's the VIN, there's the plate, and there's the description. And color is part of that description. So if your policy says silver and the car in the adjuster's photos is satin black, you've got a mismatch sitting in the file. Now, does that mean your claim gets denied? No, let's not be dramatic about it. What it means is your claim gets slower. Somebody has to stop, verify, ask questions, get an explanation. And slow claims cost you time you really don't want to spend. Usually at the exact moment you're already dealing with a damaged car. The fix takes about 2 minutes. It's a phone call or a message through your insurer's app. Most carriers just note it in the file and move on. That's it. That's the whole reporting obligation everybody's worried about. Now the same logic applies to your registration. Vehicle color shows up on Louisiana OMV records the same way it shows up on your insurance file. Full color change wrap, that record's now inaccurate. It's worth asking the OMV to update the color next time you renew, especially if you're driving daily through New Orleans and Metairie, where plate readers and traffic stops are just part of normal life. When an officer runs your plate and what the system returns doesn't match what they're looking at, that's a conversation you didn't need to have. Partial coverage is a different story. If you're just doing a roof, a hood, a couple of accent panels, your registered base color is still correct. There's usually nothing to update at all. Okay, so the premium question, will it actually go up? For a personal vehicle, no, and here's why. Premiums get priced on your driving record, your zip code, the vehicle's value, your annual mileage, and your claim history. That's the recipe. Vinyl doesn't change the engine. It doesn't change the safety rating. It doesn't change the market value of the car. There's no rating factor sitting in the system for finish. It just isn't a thing insurers price on. There are two situations where the math changes, and I'll get to both. One is business use, big one, we'll come back to it. The other is a genuinely high-value custom build where you want the wrap itself insured. And that's not a penalty, that's you adding coverage on purpose. Which brings me to the part that catches people off guard. Is the wrap itself covered? A standard auto policy insures the vehicle. It does not insure aftermarket finishes applied to that vehicle. So if you drop $5,000 on a wrap and somebody keys it in the quarter, your standard policy is looking at the car, not the vinyl. What you want to ask your agent about is custom parts and equipment coverage. Some carriers list it as customized equipment, same idea. It's usually an inexpensive endorsement. We're not talking about doubling your bill here, and it's the difference between a wrap that gets covered and a wrap you pay to replace out of your own pocket. Let me walk you through how this plays out in practice. Collision damage to a wrapped panel, often covered if you added that custom equipment coverage. Vandalism, keying, a limb comes down on your hood. That usually falls under comprehensive, minus your deductible. Hail or storm damage, and let's be real, that's relevant here every single hurricane season, comprehensive if the wrap is scheduled on the policy. Now, what's not covered? Vinyl fading or lifting from sun and humidity. That's not an insurance claim, that's a warranty conversation with your installer. And peeling after a DIY install, also no. Workmanship isn't an insured peril, nobody's insuring a bad install. Here's the thing that makes all of this actually work: paperwork. Keep a copy of your invoice. Take a few clear photos of the finished vehicle from every angle right when you pick it up while it looks perfect. Because an adjuster who can see documented cost pays documented cost. An adjuster who's guessing pays a guess. And a guess is always lower than what you actually spent. Now let's talk commercial, because this one's genuinely important. The second you put your logo and your phone number on a vehicle, you've made a public statement that the vehicle is used for business. That's the whole point of it. But if that truck is still sitting on a personal auto policy, you might have a real coverage gap, because most personal policies exclude or limit business use. So if you're a contractor, a caterer, a service company running branded vehicles around Greater New Orleans, you want to be on a commercial auto policy before the graphics go on, not after, before. And same goes if you're building out a fleet. Multiple trucks, multiple vans. Talk to your agent about scheduling the graphics across the whole group when you're planning that rollout, because replacing 6 sets of panels after one hailstorm is a genuinely expensive afternoon. Quick word on leased and financed vehicles. Your lender or leasing company is a separate approval from your insurer, two different conversations. Lenders generally don't object to removable vinyl because it comes off, but your lease terms decide what condition the car has to come back in, so read them. The insurance side doesn't change either way. Notify the carrier, schedule the wrap if you want it protected, keep your paperwork. What about paint protection film, clear film, the stuff that goes over your paint? That's not an insurance issue at all because it doesn't change how the vehicle looks or what color it's registered as. It's purely a repair cost issue. And if you're commuting on I-10 or the Pontchartrain Expressway, you know exactly how much gravel and debris ends up hitting your front bumper. A layer of clear film across those high-impact panels eats that damage instead of your paint. No claim gets filed at all. So before you book, 5 things. Call your insurer, report the color change, ask them to note it on the policy. Ask specifically about custom parts and equipment coverage and what it costs. Update your OMV color record if you're doing the whole vehicle. Confirm your policy type actually matches how you use the vehicle. And save that invoice and photograph the finished install. None of that is complicated. None of it should stop you from wrapping a car. It's about 15 minutes of admin protecting something you spent real money on. If you're thinking about a wrap and you want a written quote you can hand straight to your agent, that's something we put together all the time. We're Car Wrap New Orleans, our shop's on Rousseau Street, and we handle everything from one-off custom designs to full commercial fleet builds for folks across Kenner, Gretna, and Metairie. Give us a call at 504-766-3480. Happy to talk it through, no pressure either way.